Okay. Um, so welcome to the USAP-DC annual webinar. We'll be talking about what USAP-DC does, how we support you, and help you distribute your data in the most fair way possible and adhere to federal and Antarctic data guidelines. So here's a quick little breakdown of what we'll be getting through today, the sections that we'll have. I'll be speaking for about 30 odd minutes, and then the back half will be for Q&A. Okay. There we go. So what is USAP-DC? USAP-DC is the U.S. Antarctic Program's data center. We are a digital data repository that archive with DOIs. We are a project catalog. We are an AMD, Antarctic Metadata Directory registration service, and we are a standing representative to the Committee on Antarctic Data Management. We are one of many federally funded US-based Antarctic repositories working together to support scientists. Below are many and just some of our colleagues that we work with in the US side to keep things moving for you and where you can archive your data. So if you find that the US Antarctic Program Data Center is not the right place for you to archive your data, then maybe one of these data repositories would be right for you. Who are we? We are a group of Antarctic researchers who needed support for our Antarctic research, and so applied for NSF funding to develop a data center. We are all based here at Lamont Doherty Earth Observatory. Pardon, tripping over my words. In New York State. And if you email info@usapdc.org, one of these fine people, including myself, will get back to you as soon as we can. So let's take a look at the Antarctic data requirements that many of you are going to have to adhere to. So let's start with the Dear Colleague letter from 2022. And I know this is a lot of text, but don't worry, I'll move through it and hopefully it'll be digestible. There's a lot that's required of you by the National Science Foundation for your data. You need a long-lived and publicly accessible archive to put your data and your samples, your derived products, and your metadata. You also need to archive that data within 2 years of collection or by the end of the award, whichever comes first. And you have to have a data management plan that does not rely on self-publication, otherwise it will be non-compliant. The USAP-DC specific portion of the Dear Colleague letter states that the awardees need to register their projects, their federally funded projects with USAP-DC, and that registration should include your data management plan, and then metadata for any data sets, including externally archived data sets, must be linked or submitted to USAP-DC. The other thing that we need to keep an eye on are the FAIR data principles. And that'll come back when we talk about the SCAR data management policy and the data policies. So it's pretty straightforward. It overlaps heavily with the NSF policy. Data should be ethically open. It should be free. It should be provided in a timely manner. FAIR data principles should apply to the greatest extent practical, as well as they must be reusable and have unique identifiers. If this seems like an overwhelming list of adherence that you need to kind of comply with, this is how USAP-DC supports you. So USAP-DC is a free, long-lived, and publicly accessible digital data archive. If you have digital data that needs archiving, it can come to us. We provide bespoke fairness assessments for each data set that we archive internally. Our project registration form is really simple and easy and automatically gets pre-filled with NSF award information when you type in your award number. Internally archived data sets are automatically linked to project pages instead of externally archived data sets, which need to be manually linked. We have automatic metadata harvesting by the Antarctic Metadata Directory, Data1, and schema.org. We provide DOIs for all datasets archived within the USAP-DC repository. We use ORCID to as a persistent identifier for all authors and collaborators, and also to access your back-end USAP-DC data. We have data licensing options available, which make your data reusable. Our default is the Creative Commons 4.0, which is extremely helpful. And then we, as I said before, we report to the National Antarctic Data Center and a member of the SCAR data committee. So our services are pretty focused on this sort of life cycle about data, right? And particularly Antarctic data. If you have non-Antarctic data sets, please contact us. If you need a place to archive them, we can recommend you a location or maybe potentially archive with us anyway. Our focuses are sort of a three-pronged approach. We focus on supporting initial questions, supporting data sets and archiving data sets, and helping resulting publications. So first and foremost, we have our search function, which is text-based and map-based. Our text-based search function has a free text search, which searches everything related to any words related to a data set or a project. We can search via the NSF award number, a person, a specific program like WACE or THWAITS. You can also look at what metadata we've harvested from external repositories, such as the Polar Rock repository or BASS. And you can also search through keywords. This text-based search also affects the filters on our map-based search. Our map-based search is very straightforward. You can refine keywords and also sort of select via region, and also you can put on visualized data set layers. The next thing we have are the NSF project pages. And the NSF project pages contain everything you might need to know about a certain project. We have the abstract, which is automatically pre-populated by the NSF award abstract. You may add as many personnel as associated with your project. We have linked NSF awards. It could be one or many, potentially if you have a continuing award or a follow-on award. We have the link to your AMD registration, which we do automatically on our back end once you finish registering a project. And then we have linked data sets, associated publications, which we harvest for using your NSF award, and then your interoperable keywords, which you would apply when you were registering your project. So for data sets, you can link external repositories on your project page. It's pretty easy. You just need the URL or the DOI, and then state which repository it goes to. If you are internally archiving your data sets at USAP-DC, this automatically is linked via your award number when you submit your data set. If you want to change anything at any time, landing pages for projects and data sets can be updated using the edit function in the top right corner. I would use this function to add externally archived data sets to project pages, add publications, add abstract deals, add collaborators, add your data management plan if it has updated or didn't exist in the first place. As soon as you finish it, you can upload it here. And then once you hit submit, USAP-DC curator will review your edits and publish them live on the website. I would say that only collaborators can edit landing pages. And so one of the easiest ways to make sure that a collaborator has easy access to the USAP-DC backend and dashboard is to link the ORCID of that person. So now we're going to move on to dataset pages. And this is going to be a little bit of a beefy section because I know it's what a lot of people are interested in. Is how to deal with your data set and how USAP-DC deals with your data set. So our data set landing pages are pretty robust. They're easy to submit to. We have everything from a DOI, a specific citation, the link to the Antarctic metadata directory, an abstract, NSF awards that it's associated with, project pages that it gets automatically linked to, publications that either you submit or we harvest for, interoperable keywords that are GCMD acceptable that you would add, or we can add on your behalf, a README, and your data. We do not have direct download data at the moment, but it's a simple captcha, and hopefully one day we do. As I said before, we have automatic harvesting with data one in the Antarctic metadata directory. All of this text on the landing page is what gets fed to these metadata directories. So the better your landing page, the better the metadata distributed and disseminated throughout the world will be. So just to reiterate, the README is populated by the data deposit form, and it's a really simple text file, like free text file, and it's easy to view and easy to download. Data sets can be previewed now, as long as they are certain open file types. And so we encourage having open data files because then folks can take a look at it before they download it. We also have selectable files. You can pick which ones you'd like to download, or if you'd like to download all, preview some and not others. And there's no login required to download data, just a simple CAPTCHA form. Large data sets are still difficult to access from USAP-DC. We make it as easy as possible to distribute data. If you need a large data set, there's a contact us button that makes it very easy, and a file list of all data within that data set. And so you can let us know specifically, potentially out of what data you would like, and we'll make it easy as possible for you to get that. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but in the top corner of the preview page, we now have something called the fairness details. This is only visible to USAP-DC curators and authors or contributors of that specific data set, so don't worry. It is a simple and very straightforward rubric. Each data set is bespokely assessed by curators. We open the data files, we inspect the data files, we read the READMEs, we check on everything to make sure that either your discipline standards or international standards are actually, up to par. And then we'll give you a fairness review afterwards. And it's really simple, really simple. We have effectively 3 or 4 conditions for the things that we assess. It's good, okay, or poor, or not applicable. We assess your USAP-DC landing page, the title, the summary, the keywords, the geospatial information, if required or necessary. This is the stuff that gets fed to the AMD, and so it's important to have those at least reflect the data. And then we also take a look at your data specifically about the openness, this naming scheme, file organization, and more. We get a little bit nitty-gritty with it, but enough, high level enough that if there are discipline standards that you know of and you would like to provide to us, we would be happy to involve those in our assessment scheme. And if it's just enough for you for now, then hopefully it'll be easy enough for you to adhere to as well. So preparing fair data can be difficult, but it's easier than you think. And it's really to think about what you would want from a data set when you download it, right? So we have a little quick checklist, and I should say you can screenshot whatever you'd like from, from this slideshow, but the recording will be uploaded after the fact. So we have this little checklist on the side. It's pretty straightforward. One of the main things is file formats, right? SCAR said the data should be as open as possible and as closed as necessary. So for example, we would assess a common file type as good, an ASCII, a CSV, and a CDF. Something that's well-known but proprietary, like MATLAB files, are okay, but it would be better if it were NetCDF, for example. And then we also do have a poor condition for the standard, which requires a license, for example, or has no header information or is an unknown file type. We don't discourage the uploading of proprietary files or without detail, but we encourage you to try to make it more open. We'll take the data. We want the data public no matter what. But if it can be better, can we help you? We'll let you know. So just once again, reiterating the product checklist. And I want to say fairness is something that we help you with a lot. To make our data center have the most interoperable and reusable data, that we rely on you and the data that you submit to us. Otherwise, we help you make it findable and accessible as best as we can. And so together we can make an incredibly fair data set for the Antarctic community. So submitting data and submitting fair data is really straightforward. You can use the contribute button on the toolbar at the top left, or you can hit the button right on our main landing page, deposit data set. We would recommend that you log in using your ORC ID if you don't already have an account, because it will make it a lot easier to link additional data sets and additional projects in the future for you and for your collaborators. The data deposit form is extremely straightforward. It autofills where possible. There are free text boxes for metadata. There's keyword searching through our database, and you can also add keywords of your own. Geospatial information has a little interactive map, so if you don't want to use latitude and longitude in the free text boxes, you can actually use a map to sort of get yourself geospatial information. And this geospatial information feeds to our map search function. And then there are licensing options available for you here as well. One thing I will say is that saving does not submit your form, but if you find this overwhelming or you're running out of time or anything, you can save your progress and return to it later. So for your data and your data set landing page, here's a little checklist that we've thrown together. And the best way to fill these out is to think about what you would want when you download this data. So your dataset title should be easy to identify what kind of data it is just from the title. The abstract and summary should describe the data. Is it user-friendly in the sense that it gives them enough detail to figure out whether or not this is data that they want to reuse? Does your README have all the information that it needs to reuse your data? Do you have any references or publications that describe the processing of your data? Have you included it? Have you included all collaborators? Have their names been spelled correctly? Collaborators who are already registered within the USAP-DC system, their names will auto-populate for you, and so sometimes you don't have to worry about whether or not you spell people's names correctly. And then again, have you added geospatial information for the map server? And just one way that we assess these kinds of landing page tick marks is for the dataset title, for example, you have something that's good, okay, or poor. The more descriptive your dataset title, the better. It's easier for people to quickly find it within the search function and identify whether or not it's something that they can use. That's the ideal and gold standard for a dataset. So when you're going to upload your data files, we have a return to the data product checklist. Is this data product final? Are the file names descriptive? Is it uniform across a time series, for example? Does it make sense? Is it consistent? Is the file format as open as it can be? Are the headers clearly defined, either in the header line of the data? Are the variables clearly defined in the data, or at least are they defined in the README to make it easy for people to reuse your data? And then as far as standardization goes, are there discipline standards that you are adhering to, international standards that you are adhering to? Are all of your measurements done in meters? Or are all of your coordinates in an EPSG 3031, for example? All of these things are things to think about and consider before you upload your data set. For large data sets, we recommend that you upload a text file as your placeholder and contact USAP-DC immediately. We can organize a way to get your data onto the server in an alternate way, but currently our submission form does not take files that are larger than about 5 gigabytes. So, excuse me, please keep that in mind when you're uploading your data. We also have dataset version control in our database. We know datasets evolve over time, and it's okay. We don't deprecate DOIs from older datasets. We do encourage new versions of datasets if they exist. All versions of the data live on our in the data center and in our repository as live links, so they will never go away. You can always cite an older version or a newer version. The only changes on an older version of a data set, you get this banner that you can see up there saying a version exists for this, a newer version of this exists for the data set. Click here to go to its landing page, and it will navigate you to the most recent version of your data set. So we do have automatic version control. So if you have data files already uploaded and you've clicked the edit button to your data set and you try to change the files that are already uploaded to your data set, this will trigger a version control. So there is a couple of ways that we're going to handle this. We're going to ask, has the DOI already been issued? Is the data publicly available for download, or is it under embargo? How long has it been public, and how many times has it been downloaded? And all of those factors will play into whether or not you may need a new version of your data set. Please contact USAP-DC if this is the case. We can help you with it. We're happy to help you with creating a new version of your data set. And if you aren't trying to create a new version of your data set, please contact USAP-DC. Some of these prior conditions may not apply, and we can help you with that, and we can replace the files on our back end without creating too much of a kerfuffle. But please contact us. We are nice and accommodating people. And we are going to do our best to support you in the best way we can. We are all human. We are not infallible. So one option that is available to you is to put your data on proprietary hold or embargo. I would consider this if your data is still in review for a publication, you're still working on the data set, or a journal has required that you put this under an embargo before it goes public. Sorry. There are limitations per NSF requirements. Remember that data must be public 2 years after collection or at the end of the grant, whichever comes first. So please contact your program officer. If you're putting something under embargo for a certain amount of time, let them know. Have them approve it. Also contact us. Let us know. Keep us in the loop so that we can make sure that you are not non-compliant with your NSF requirements when you put something under proprietary hold. So I know I've spoken a lot about USAP-DC. My recommendation is if you have any of the following symptoms to please contact info@usapdc.org. We are more than happy to chat with you about what you and your data set might need, whether or not we're the right repository for you, and whether or not you are dealing with large data sets, different data sets, potentially unawarded data sets. We will ingest data sets that for Antarctic data, no matter the case of award status. So if you need a repository, please contact us. We'd be happy to have your data. Okay, I'd love to turn it over to everybody. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. I'd be happy to rewind and go back to any slides upon request. But thank you so much for your attention, and I will stop the recording now. So thank you very much.